Good afternoon, everyone. Tractorman 44 here. Now, if you notice, today we have a different colored backdrop. Normally, my backdrop is red, because I'm pretty much Massey Harris kind of guy. I tolerate Massey Ferguson's, but I'm a Massey Harris kind of guy. And I got a green backdrop today, and this is a good colored green. I always joke about the Oliver being a good colored green, simply because they're a different shade than John Deere. They always claim, the real Oliver fans claims that the John Deeres are only green because they're envious of not having as many cylinders as what the typical Oliver have. We got about 4 more cylinders in here, so that's why them John Deeres are green. They're just envious. But I'm kind of joking, I like all them tractors. I'm not prejudiced to color. I got multiple colors of red. I got a couple of different colors of green, and of course you got the old orange ones and yellow ones too. So it is what it is. But today, hey, we're going to see if we can get this old 77. This is an Oliver 77, about a 1951 or 52 6-cylinder, 201 cubic inch 6-cylinder, which conversely is the same cubic inches of a Massey Harris Model 33, except for the 33 is a 4-banger. So your bores are much larger on the 4-cylinder 201 versus the 6-cylinder. Consequently, the 6-cylinder seems to be a smoother running engine, a little higher RPM, you know what I mean? And they develop roughly the same horsepower. Of course, horsepower, as we all know, is developed by RPM, so the higher you increase your RPM, the higher your horsepower rating is. You know what I mean? Whereas the 4-cylinders with the longer stroke and the bigger bore, they develop more torque because they don't develop necessarily the RPM for the horsepower, but they develop more torque. And torque is really what you're doing the work with when it comes to these old farm tractors. Of course, there's arguments every which way on that. But at any rate, hey, let's see if we can get this thing started. It's been sitting here for about 3 years, about 2016, I guess, when I run this old cotton picker in here and just let him sit. So he's rested enough. Let's see if we can get him to go. These tall tractors are hell on short, guys. But I tell you what we're going to do. I got my drill and a little brush and everything here. It's been sitting long enough. These things are all so corroded and all that. So I'm going to cheat a little bit and kind of buff those up. I've already sanded the terminals on the battery that I'm going to stick in there, but this is so much easier to do it this way. My old man always said you give your hardest job to the laziest guy and you'll find the easiest way to get it done. And by golly, it don't get no easier than that. There's a negative and a positive. I convert all these things over to negative ground whenever we go to 12 volt. So this one's no exception. This is the same partially charged battery that we put in that little Massey Harris 30 yesterday, or day before yesterday, whatever, when we got that thing fired up. So with a little luck, there'll be enough oomph in this guy to send this 6-cylinder going too. Now I'm going to do something, do as I say and not as I do kind of thing. A lot of times these old terminals get all misshapen and all that stuff. I just take, and you ain't supposed to do that, but I'll just go ahead and run a screw right down along the side of it just to tighten it all up, because that's better than changing the ends on the cables and all that stuff. When you do that, that creates a bit of an issue in corrosion itself, Even if you use the corrosion inhibitor, it still has a tendency to give you a problem over time. I always like to hook the ground terminal up last. If you hook the ground terminal up first and you accidentally bump your wrench from the positive post to the side of your tractor, you're going to make sparks. That gets a little exciting. Boy, for vertically challenged people, these big old tall tractors, they're a pain. Now, I do not expect quick and easy results with this one. Been setting a lot longer. And it's a 6-banger, but yeah, it's got some issues in the motor. It smokes a little bit and it's a little weak. And the gas, I don't know, man, that gas is nasty and old. Let me turn the petcock on there. See, we have a temporary hose right here, for the oil breather. So hopefully there's gas going in there. We're going to turn it over and crank her a little bit and see what happens. Choke, everything's stuck on this old dog. Well, we got her choke now. Make sure she's in neutral. This one here usually from cold start. Usually you start this one wide open throttle and full choke. Oh hey, this is a cold start video. This old gal's really cold natured. I've got to let him run for a good 4 or 5 minutes before I ever try to move him out of his tracks. And it's always been that way, don't know why, but it just is. So I'm gonna let her sit there and hammer away a little bit, check the water and radiator, maybe put a little antifreeze in. And I can't even idle it down too much. I'm still at half throttle right now. If I idle it down, it always does falter and just fall on its face and die. So I just got to let the engine warm up for a while. I am totally surprised it started that easy. I think it would have started a little quicker, but my hand slipped off of the doggone starter button. It's in there really, really tight. I'm going to have to jimmy jack it back and forth in order to get them front wheels turned at a 90 degree to peel it out of here. Now whatever you do, pay no attention to that 56 Ford F-250 back there in the corner. That does not exist. Now, for those of you that don't know the Oliver transmissions, they have double neutrals, and what you're watching me do is try to fight it into the lower neutral. This tractor has seen very little use over the years. It's not worn very much at all. The transmission is just tight as can be, and it's always very difficult to get from the upper neutral to the lower neutral, or vice versa. Now, the lower neutral has first, second, fifth, and reverse 1, and the upper neutral has third, fourth, sixth, and reverse 2. And I want to get it into the lower gears so I can use first gear in order to rock it out of the shed. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just fighting with that thing, trying to get it in the lower neutral. This little old fella here, it's the baby brother to the 88 that I power the sawmill with. The 88's 265 cubic inch, 6-banger. And this one is, like I said before, 201 cubic inch. The other one, the 88, just has stamped wheels. This one here has cast iron rear wheels and also interior Oliver wheel weights, as well as wheel weights on the front, stamped rims on the front also. It's actually a pretty smooth running little tractor when you get the bugs, kind of blown out of it a little bit. The problem with my stuff is it sets for so long. But at any rate, it'll iron out. And I think now that I got it running, I think we're going to put this thing on the wood splitter, and we're going to get 20 or 30 hours on this thing sitting on the wood splitter this winter. I think that'd be good for it. But at any rate, all in all, this was a very much a surprise. I thought I was going to have to dink with it much more than that. I do have stabilizer and stuff in the fuel, and I think that's what saved this particular one, because it has been sitting there since about the latter part of 2016. So at any rate, I apologize for making fun of John Deere guys. I got a couple of John Deeres too. I mean, I like them. They're just great as could be. But it's kind of one of them things, we kind of poke fun at each other a little bit, Them old John Deeres, they sound like they're missing something, Whereas these old Olivers, man, they sound almost as good as a 6-cylinder Massey. Those are really sweet sounding. But at any rate, I tell you what, that's all there is to this video. It's Trackman 44. I'm wrapping it up. I am out of here.